We are now talking about engagement and how to share your videos, how to go viral. Often when we create videos, it's the last thing that people think about. They shoot the video, they edit the video, they're ready to hit publish, and they're like, oh, how are we gonna get people to watch this? How are we gonna get people to share this? I believe that you should consider all of that stuff before you even create the video content. 50% of your time should be spent thinking about the editorial, what's in the video, the who, where, what, when, why, how. The other 50% of the time should be spent thinking about how you're gonna share it, how people are gonna engage with it. And here's a few considerations. One, who is gonna watch your video and why? I think you need to be very specific about that so you can target that audience. So if you're doing a piece on soccer or football in Kenya, then you know that football enthusiasts in Kenya would watch that. So people that are following local football teams, that are interested in football culture, that kind of stuff. So know who's gonna watch your piece. Two, know what kind of emotion your content is going to evoke. People share content on Facebook often because it says something about themselves. Your Facebook timeline is a digital representation of who you are. So when I share a video about whales being slaughtered, I'm basically telling my audience, I care about this. I'm passionate about the subject matter, and this is why I'm sharing this content. So understand what kind of emotion your content evokes. And once you understand that, you are then able to understand why people might share this content. People are gonna share this video because it's gonna make them angry. People are gonna share this video because they are passionate about the subject matter. Because at the end of the day, Facebook is a share-based ecosystem. You want people to hit share. You want them to share this piece of content with their friends and family. Next up, you wanna look at all of the pages, the groups that might be interested in sharing your piece of content. So it's about drawing this big mind map and saying, okay, here's my story. Here's all of the various Facebook pages that are gonna share it. Here's all of the various groups that are gonna share it. Here's all of the various influencers that are gonna share it. And let me get in touch with all of those organizations before I publish my piece of content and tell them it's coming up so that these organizations, these groups, these pages can share it and we can create a ripple effect. Of course, with all these practices, it's important to ensure that you're sharing authentic user behavior. You don't want to give the algorithms and Facebook the impression that you are spamming people. You definitely don't want to be putting content into groups that is not relevant or related to that subject matter. You want to make sure that you're being highly current, highly relevant. You don't want to be spamming people. But I think once you start to create these systems of understanding all of these groups and pages that are sharing your content, it becomes very easy to start to go viral very early. You also want to consider very early on what hashtags you're going to use, what's relevant to the subject matter. List all those hashtags out and it'll be much easier for you to share that content. Your thumbnail or your image that you choose is also critically important to the success of your video. We find that a few things do particularly well with thumbnails. One, when it's slightly weird or odd or strange, that stops people on their timeline. They say, hey, what's that? I need to watch to find out what that is. Two, implied motion tends to do quite well, where it looks like something in that frame is about to change or adapt or differ or something's gonna happen. That does quite well. We find what doesn't do well for us in our thumbnails is profile pictures of people that nobody's seen before. If you just had an image of your main character and it's not a very entertaining image and people don't know who that person is, they don't really have a reason to stick around and watch that piece of content. And finally, most importantly, is your headline. Of course, when people see your video on the news feed, they're scrolling, they will see a thumbnail image that will start playing as a video, and they'll see your headline on top and your share text. And this is the information that they have that they can read to understand what your story is about. It's really important that you avoid clickbait. Now, I highly encourage you to read the newsfeed guidelines, and I'm going to drop a link to them in the comments section below. But here's some guidelines around how to avoid doing clickbaity headlines and how to make sure that you are doing the most authentic form of communication around your Facebook post. Clickbait is defined by Facebook as when a publisher posts a link with a headline that encourages people to see more without telling them that much information about what they will see. So basically, clickbait intentionally omits important information to try and get you to click through to watch. And that's often misleading, and that's why it's a problem. Especially in a world where we have so much fake news and false information, good, authentic, reliable headlines and share texts are really, really important. An example of a clickbaity headline would be like, you won't believe what happens next. She fell over and then this happened. These are clickbaity because you don't quite know how that sentence is gonna end. You click through to find out in the video, and sometimes these videos don't even answer that question, and that's why they're called clickbait. Facebook tell us that when a page uses clickbaity headlines and share text, their posts are ranked lower in the algorithm. That means that less people will see your videos, and they highly encourage you to create videos with headlines and share text that are accurate and honest. So the two big things that you shouldn't do when doing headlines is, one, don't exaggerate or mislead people as to the nature of the video that you're producing. This is the biggest sporting event in the world, and it's not actually the biggest. That's misleading. And two, don't hold back important information that could potentially mislead an audience. Make sure your headlines are engaging. They are things that people want to watch, want to read, will incite some form of excitement about your content or intrigue. But make sure you explain clearly in your headline what's in the box, what people are gonna get when they watch that piece of video. So guys, these are just a few basic principles on engagement. I would love to hear from you how you can engage audiences using your video content, what lessons you've learned about the videos that have performed well and those that haven't. So whether you're looking at your thumbnails, whether you're looking at your headlines, or whether you're building out your engagement strategy of all the people that are gonna share your video, it's so important, guys, to think about engagement from the very start of your video process.